you that song. It goes something like this. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Oh, hey, Mickey.
One of those.
This one.
Oh, this one.
Imagine walking into a place where music wasn't just sold, it lived. Where the air hummed with anticipation. Where every aisle felt like a portal to another world. Rows upon rows of albums, cassettes, CDs glowing under bright lights. The smell of plastic and paper. The sound of laughter, debates about bands, and that one perfect track playing overhead. That was Tower Records. For decades, Tower wasn't just a store. It was a destination, a temple, a community, a cultural heartbeat for generations of music lovers. From Sacramento to Tokyo, from London to New York, people didn't just buy music there, they discovered it, argued about it, fell in love with it, and built memories that lasted lifetimes. But then, it was gone. In 2006, one of the greatest retail empires in music history shuttered its doors for good in the United States. How does a billion-dollar company with stores on 5 continents disappear almost overnight? Was it the internet? Greed? Bad decisions? Or something bigger? An unstoppable shift in how humanity consumes art? Today, we're diving deep into the rise and fall of Tower Records. This isn't just a business story. It's a love letter to a lost era. It's about passion, hubris, innovation, and the painful truth that all things must pass. Stick around, because by the end, you might find yourself missing a place you've never even been to. Or maybe, you'll remember the one you did visit and feel that ache in your chest all over again. Brief pause, montage, customers lining up, artists signing autographs, late-night store energy, the birth of an empire. Let's go back to the beginning. Sacramento, California, 1960. Russell Solomon wasn't born into retail royalty. He was a music-obsessed kid whose father, Clayton Solomon, ran a neighborhood drug store called Tower Drugs, named after the Tower Theater next door. Young Russ started selling records out of the back room. Used 78s pulled from old jukeboxes, resold cheap. He had that spark early, that instinct that music wasn't just product, it was people. In 1960, at just 34 years old, Russ opened the first official Tower record store on Broadway in Sacramento. He kept the name simple, a nod to his dad. Humble beginnings. But inside Russ Solomon's head, a massive vision was already forming. He believed music should be accessible, fun, and abundant. No stuffy rules, no elitism, just walls of sound. The timing was electric. Rock and roll was exploding. Elvis had already changed everything. The Beatles were on the horizon. Soul, jazz, folk, people were hungry. Tower gave them more than they even knew they wanted. What set Russ apart from every other record store owner? 3 things: enormous selection, fair prices, and most importantly, staff who actually cared. Not salespeople chasing commission. Music heads, obsessives, people who could reach behind the counter and hand you an obscure import that would change your entire relationship with sound. Word spread fast. Locals started hanging around just to be there. Teenagers after school, adults on lunch breaks, working musicians hunting for inspiration. Tower wasn't just a shop. It had become a scene. By 1968, Russ expanded to San Francisco. That store on Columbus Avenue became legendary overnight. Right in the heart of the counterculture explosion, Haight-Ashbury energy flowed right through the front door. The summer of love wasn't just happening outside Tower, it was happening inside it too. From there, the expansion was relentless. The Tower Records was unstoppable. over 200 stores worldwide. The Tokyo Shibuya location, 52,000 square feet, was at one point the largest music store on the planet. Stores in Japan, the UK, Mexico, Singapore, Ireland, Israel, Australia. Over 30 countries. Tower wasn't just American anymore. It had gone global, and everywhere it landed, it became the place. Annual sales hit nearly $1 billion in 1999. Think about that. A physical retail music store doing $1 billion at the dawn of the internet age. It seemed indestructible. So what was the secret? It started with the staff. Tower hired passionate people. Music nerds, punk rockers, jazz heads, classical buffs. They weren't minimum wage shelf stackers. They were curators, tastemakers. The person behind the counter wasn't just ringing up your purchase. They were potentially about to change your life with a recommendation. Customers would come in for one album and stay for 2 hours, debating, discovering, getting into actual arguments about whether this record topped the last one. That energy was irreplaceable. In-store events were the stuff of legend. Album release parties, midnight openings with fans lined up around the block, Pearl Jam doing impromptu performances inside stores, artists doing signings where the line stretched for hours and nobody cared because just being there was the point. It was a community. Regulars became family. People met their future partners in the aisles, had their hearts broken in the parking lot, found the album that got them through the worst year of their lives, recommended by some stranger behind the counter who just knew. Russ Solomon's leadership style made all of this possible. He was charismatic, loose, a little rebellious, and he trusted his people. Each store had real autonomy in what they ordered and how they operated. The New York store felt like New York. The Tokyo store felt like Tokyo. No cookie-cutter corporate feel. Every location had a soul. That decentralized model was ahead of its time. In New York, you got deep hip-hop and underground punk. In LA, rock and pop dominated. In Tokyo, J-pop and rare imports flew off shelves. Tower was carrying enormous overhead. Massive long-term leases on prime real estate around the world. Warehouses full of physical inventory. Thousands of employees globally. A cost structure built for a world that was disappearing faster than anyone at headquarters wanted to admit. Instead of aggressively pivoting to digital, investing in their own download platform, licensing deals, a hybrid model, Tower expanded. They took on over $100 million in high-interest bonds between 1998 and 2000 to fund more stores, more square footage, more inventory. They genuinely believed the experience was too powerful to die, that no one would ever trade browsing real record bins for clicking on a screen. They were partly right. The experience really was irreplaceable. But economics doesn't care about magic. Then the competition came from an angle they didn't expect. Best Buy, Walmart, and Target started selling CDs as loss leaders, pricing them below cost just to get people through the door. Amazon made deep catalog available with 1 click and 2-day delivery. Tower couldn't compete on price with companies that didn't actually need to make money on music. Sales dropped, then dropped again, then kept dropping. First bankruptcy filing, 2004. Chapter 11, restructuring. There was real hope. The brand still had enormous loyalty. But the underlying market had moved on, and no amount of restructuring could change that. The second bankruptcy came in 2006. This time, there was no coming back. Liquidation. Stores closed one by one that autumn. And then, on December 22nd, 2006, right before Christmas, the last Tower Records in the United States, in New York City, locked its doors for the final time. Employees and longtime customers wept openly. News cameras captured grown adults hugging in empty aisles, clutching the last discounted CDs, saying goodbye to a piece of their lives. Tower's collapse wasn't just one company's failure. It was a mirror held up to an entire industry, and to all of us. It teaches us that adaptation isn't optional. When the world shifts, standing still isn't stability. It's a slow goodbye. Tower saw the wave coming and chose to believe the shore was safer. It wasn't. It teaches us that community is powerful, but convenience is ruthless. Tower built something real and rare. But when people could get music instantly, for free, from their bedrooms, the emotional connection to a physical store wasn't enough to override that frictionless convenience. And it teaches us that technology moves faster than institutions can change. By the time Tower's leadership truly reckoned with what was happening, the window to act had already closed. And yet, the spirit endures. Vinyl is back. Independent record stores are thriving in ways nobody predicted 15 years ago. The very thing that Napster was supposed to kill has found its second life, driven by people who want exactly what Tower once offered. Something physical to hold, something to browse, a space to share with other people who care. In a world of streaming algorithms and auto-generated playlists, Tower Records reminds us of what human-curated discovery felt like. The serendipity of flipping through a bin and finding the record that changed everything. The staff member who looked at what you were holding and said, "If you like that, you need to hear this." We lost something genuinely irreplaceable when those doors closed. So, what happened to Tower Records? The internet came for it. The debt suffocated it. The competition buried it. But here's what the internet couldn't touch: the memories, the communities, the millions of moments of pure musical discovery that happened inside those walls over 4.5 decades. If you ever stood in those aisles, losing track of time, headphones on, holding an album you'd never heard of but somehow knew you needed, you already know what Tower was. And no algorithm will ever replace it. All things must pass. But the music? The music lives forever.